The Patriots' final Week 1 preparations are underway from Gillette Stadium, and part of those preparations is electing team captains. I'm Alex Barth. He's Evan Lazar from Gillette Stadium, where the Patriots have announced the 6 captains for this season. It will be Tom Brady, Devin McCourty, Patrick Chung, James White, David Andrews, and Matthew Slater. Let's start with Brady, Evan. Some speculation, some Boston media folks want to say that since Tom Brady was not at OTAs, he should give up his captaincy. Again, not that he can give it up, it's an elected spot, for missing OTAs, despite the fact that over 95% of returning NFL starting quarterbacks, those who are not in their first year with their team, are captains. That includes the likes of Blake Bortles. Do you buy into the fact at all that Brady not going to OTAs means he shouldn't be a captain?
No, it's absolutely ridiculous. Tom Brady's been a captain every year since 2002. He's the quarterback of this team. He's the clear leader of this team. I mean, you go and you talk to anybody in this locker room, and they always say that Tom Brady is the guy. He's what makes this Patriots team go. I don't think you need to be in the locker room to know that. I think it's pretty clear from the outside. It would have been story number 1 on every single media outlet across the country if Tom Brady wasn't elected a captain of the New England Patriots. We would have heard about it here locally. We would have heard about it on ESPN, FS1, Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith. All these guys would have been talking about this with the Texans coming here on Sunday. You really think Bill Belichick wanted that kind of distraction? I highly doubt it. So they did the right thing. Tom Brady is the captain for his 19th NFL season, and all is well in New England.
Talk to me about the first-year captains.
Yeah, I think that James White, we just talked to him in the locker room a few minutes ago, and I think he's very humbled by this. A very confident guy, James White. He's not one that is necessarily, denying his skills as a good player or anything like that, but I think that he realizes that he's going to be a guy that leads more by example than necessarily being a rah-rah vocal leader that maybe some of the other guys that are captains, like a Matthew Slater, might lead that way. But James kind of said that he's just going to keep doing what he's doing, not going to change anything, and lead by example. Then with Patrick Chung, I think the good thing about Patrick Chung, or the interesting thing about Patrick Chung, is that Bill Belichick said this morning that he is the most conditioned athlete on this team, potentially. I don't know, maybe Tom Brady would have to say a thing or two about that, but he's basically saying that his play strength, his play speed, his ability to play multiple positions and continue to play at a high level with a high motor is something that he notices with Patrick Chung more than some of the other players, and maybe that kind of separated himself to be a captain. So I think those two guys, one, James White, more of a quiet spoken guy that leads by example. Patrick Chung, more of a on-field captain, with a guy that really works his butt off and is in great physical shape.
Rob Gronkowski, not a captain here in 2018. Again, it's a voted on position. We don't know, who's counting the ballots necessarily. But are you surprised Rob Gronkowski got left off?
I was surprised, and I thought that, the biggest thing is that you never want your all-pro tight end to be unhappy in any way going into the season. Does this make Rob Gronkowski unhappy? I'm not sure. No one has had the chance to ask him that yet. I doubt that he would ever say that it has or anything like that, but I definitely think that this is an interesting little wrinkle. And I think that one thing that, maybe it is that they like to rotate that other spot next to Brady and maybe another veteran like David Andrews a little bit, and give some other guys an opportunity to kind of wear that burden. Belichick definitely said at his press conference that, just because you're not a captain, as you might expect, just because you're not a captain doesn't mean you can't be a leader of a team. That's just a kind of a designation more than anything. But it is surprising to see Gronk be a captain last year and then have it taken away from him this year. Do people not like Rob Gronkowski anymore? Do people not think he's captain?
He gave them all Tide Pods. They all had Tide Pods in their locker yesterday after practice.
I doubt all those things are true. I doubt that anybody's opinion on Rob Gronkowski has changed in the course of a year. So I think it definitely is interesting that he's not a captain. Obviously, I don't know how much of the off-field stuff, the press conferences before the motocross stuff, the contract negotiations, I don't know how much any of that really had an impact. Anybody that's kind of saying that it did or didn't is more or less speculating at that point, but I definitely think it's interesting that he's not a captain.
I wasn't too surprised just because we know his history with games played. We know his injury history. And you talked about how Bill Belichick raved about the durability of guys like James White and guys like Patrick Chung. There's one knock on Rob Gronkowski. It is his durability. It is his ability to stay on the field. So I wonder if that leaves him off. But like you mentioned, the Patriots do like to rotate that captain spot. And they're one of the few teams in the NFL. They don't wear the C on the jersey.
Right.
Outside of what goes on in the locker room, it's not really official. So of the captaincy, subject to change.
One more thing before we sign off that's interesting about that. Dante Hightower, also not a captain.
Right, and I think he could be in the same boat.
Right, so maybe there's a similar kind of thing going on there. Dante Hightower obviously missed a whole lot more time than Rob Gronkowski did last season, but maybe a little bit of, we like the guys that are kind of here all the time and healthy all the time and playing on the field all the time.
So perhaps that's what it is. We will see. Just days away now from the Patriots kickoff against the Houston Texans. For all things Patriots, make sure you're following us on Twitter at PatriotsCLNS and check us out online at clnsmedia.com.